What's up? Welcome to episode number 123 of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choi. If you're new here, what I do is interview people from all walks of life, most often comedians and other entertainment types and artists about their lives and careers. It's casual conversation, but I also ask everyone to highlight the people they love, who've inspired them, influenced them, or supported them. For more, check out peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. And you can find the show on YouTube. Just search People We Love Podcast. I'm sure you'll find it. The Instagram handle is at People We Love Podcast. And I am on Instagram and Twitter as well at Adam Choit if you want to follow me. And please remember to tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. And of course, 5-star positive reviews on iTunes, Apple Podcasts are greatly appreciated as well. But before getting into today's episode, I also wanted to mention my other podcast, Tedeschi Trucks Podcast, all about the 12-piece blues rock soul powerhouse band, Tedeschi Trucks Band. Definitely check that out if you're into that type of music. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. And definitely subscribe to that show as well on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via whichever way you listen to podcasts. And that show is on YouTube as well. Just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. So for today's episode of the People We Love podcast, my guest is comedian Adam Nutter. Originally from Staten Island and now living in Pennsylvania, growing up, he was a shy kid who was into comic books and sports. Football being his best sport, he tells me all about being a hard-hitting safety in high school. Later on, he found mixed martial arts, but eventually his true passion, stand-up comedy. Adam's life has definitely had some ups and downs, of which he talks very honestly about. We cover a lot in this one, including him discovering libertarianism and Ron Paul, and his brief time on the force as a police officer. But perhaps most notably, Adam tells me all about his love for his dad, who he's very close with. But let's just get started. Here's Adam Nutter. So it's good to see you today, Adam Nutter. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh, sure. How are you holding up during whatever current year this is, whatever year this is?
The brand new 2022. Good so far?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now I'm going to be really off. I've been saying that kind of for a while now, on and off the podcast to other people. And now the year has changed. So now I'm really confused.
Yeah, it's 2022, man. Fucking we're there. Hopefully almost over.
Yeah, we'll see. So you are in PA right now.
Yeah, right now in my house. Yes.
Yeah, I can see it's looking good, sounding good. We can just dive into it and get into your story and your journey a little bit. Why don't you tell me about like the early days? What jumps out at you from even like pre-kindergarten, if you have like images or sounds? Yeah,
sure. So I guess
about your background and whatnot.
I was born in Brooklyn, technically, because my parents were from Brooklyn, so I was born there. But I grew up in Staten Island. And it was just all Italian and Irish kids. You know, that's all you grow up with. Other Italian and Irish kids. And a lot of sports, because it's back in the 90s, because I'm 35. So I was born in 86 to give, a little background to why I'm saying this. Because back in the 90s, like, yeah, we had video games and shit, but like it wasn't like the same. You know, we went out and we played football. We went out, we played fucking baseball. We went out, we played manhunt, all that shit. Like we were constantly out.
We're from the same generation. Yeah. And I'm from Long Island originally. I don't know if you know that. So
shit, I didn't know
that. Yeah, I'm in California now a long time. But yeah, that's a similar upbringing in all the regards you've mentioned so far.
Yeah. So my parents grew up. We grew up middle class, like up, like most other Staten Island families and shit. And I guess it's important to say that I was always good in sports. I was athletic and shit. I love football. Football is my number one thing. I sucked in basketball. I was okay in baseball, but football was like my shit. I should have said I was good in football. I should have said I was good in football. I was decent in other stuff, but I was really good in football. But I was like a shy kid, and again, this is the 90s, and I was like into Spider-Man and Batman and shit way before that was a cool thing. Like back then, you're like fucking gay, but now it's like, oh, Spider, of course, like everywhere. So I was a sports guy, but I was also like a nerd, and that was not cool in the 90s. Like, you had to pick your lane. So I just got bullied a lot, not like beat up, but like just bullied a lot, and like intimidated and shit like that. And especially like in Staten Island, I always say this, like, you had to watch what you say, because like if you say something fucked up to somebody, like that's a fight. Like as a kid, like, you know, it's like, there's no, like, none of this bullshit today where it's like, I'm going to tell a teacher, or it's like, oh, what'd you say? Okay, we're fighting now. And you're like, all right, I guess we're fighting now. Like, that's it. You know, that's how it was. So, but I was always like a shy kid. I didn't like physical confrontation outside of football and stuff, you know? So I got to high school, and I started playing football for the high school team. Catholic. I went to Catholic high school in Staten Island, St. Joseph by the Sea. Shout out. And I was good, but I was still bullied. Like, I had no friends on the team, like zero fucking friends, like zero. So the way I would try to get liked was to try to make jokes and be funny, right? Which works sometimes, because I was witty enough to like get out of situations, like, you know, bully situations. Not all the time, but sometimes. But I was like funny enough where they would get a pass sometimes. But mostly, like, they were like, "Nah, fuck you, nerd. Like, we don't, you know." But like come game day, they're like, "Oh, you're the shit." And then like literally the next day, it's like, "Fuck you, nerd," again. It was like, it's like so I had like only like one or two true friends in football. One of them I'm still really close to today. But like I hit to like my senior year, and I graduated. And I was like, oh, I'm done like being bullied. Like, this is fucking over for me forever. Like, you know, I'm done. So I got into MMA at like 18, and I started training, and I started like fighting in amateur, only amateur. I never went.
I thought you meant watching.
No, yeah, both, both. But I started like training, like every day I was training at the fucking, and I was also playing. So football backstory again. So I got like partially recruited to play for New Haven in Connecticut, which is like a D2 school.
What position did you play?
Oh, safety.
We're gonna jump all over timelines in this conversation. Just so you know, I have a feeling, because I'm interested in a lot of different parts of your life already. You played safety.
Yeah, I played safety.
So you're hard hitting. You're one of those hard hitting white safeties.
So yes.
White
so
safeties.
Funny enough, my junior year I wore 47 because John Lynch is my favorite football player of all time. And if everyone doesn't know who John Lynch, Super Bowl winner, Buccaneer, also played for the Broncos and signed for like a day with the Patriots, and then he retired. But like, he's also the GM of the 49ers right now, for anybody listening. But he was the type of guy. Yeah, he was a white dude, which I guess that's just, and
a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. Yes, he is a Hall of Famer. But coincidental that he was white. But it was just like, I just like the way that he played safety. He's like, no, I'm going to fucking make you not want to cross this field. I'm not going to make you not want to ever come my way. Like, as a receiver, I'm going to want to make you fear me. And I was like, that's how you got to play safety. So I would just throw my body into people. I was like a fucking lunatic, you know? But so, yeah, so my junior year, I wore 47 to honor the great John Lynch. So the New Haven thing happens. Something happens with their athletic director and the football team, and they had to like suspend the team for like some reason. I forgot the exact reason. So I was like, shit. Okay, well, I still want to play football. So I tried to get to Iona College in New York, and they were like, no, we're full now. I was like, well, fuck. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, well, that's out of the college options, right? Like, I had like two options, and that was it. And people shit on me for it. I was like, fuck you. I don't know. Like, whatever. I tried. So then I was like, oh, there's semi-pro, which you could try out for, which semi-pro is this a cooler word for like rec league adult football. Right. Like, so I tried out for the Staten Island team, and they didn't take me. And I was like, okay. And then I tried out for this Jersey team, and they took me. So I played for this Jersey team in Edison, New Jersey. They were called the Edison Mustangs at the time.
And you got paid. You got paid? Sort
easy.
Of. Think it was a dinner?
I played 3 years of that, and I made maybe $1,200.
You're hoping to get noticed by you just love football.
Honestly, once the college wasn't an option and I was doing that, I was like, this is just for fun now. Like, I was being very honest with myself.
You need that physical outlet, be it football or
so that's MMA. The thing. I was doing those at the same fucking time. So I was playing semi-pro and competing in MMA at the same time. So like my schedule was and going to college. I went to St. John's in Staten Island, which is the Queens the Queen St. John's, the
St.
basketball
John's,
team.
yeah, another campus.
It's the same. Yeah, it's just the Staten Island campus. So I went there just as like, well, I guess I'm doing this now, and I majored in history because I like history. But I was doing MMA and football at the same time.
It's intense. That's cool.
And every day I was like, because like we didn't really practice because it was a bunch of adults, who are like, I have jobs and kids and shit. Like people are like, we can't just come to practice like it's a fucking high school. So we practiced like maybe twice a week for that. But I was at the MMA gym every day, like once to twice a day, just fucking training, and then like camp for fight, and then that's intense, and then I'm still playing football. I'm not stopping. So I was like at a steady like 205, 200 constantly, like pounds. I was like muscle though. I was never like abs ripped or anything. But
How tall are you?
6 foot.
6 foot. Yeah, you're pretty strong and sturdy when you're.
Not anymore. Now I'm 165 and I have no muscle on me. I fucking dropped all the weight. I have nothing on me anymore.
Why'd you do that? Because you don't want to train.
Oh, I'm over it. I hate it. I never want to go walk into a gym again.
You never want to what?
It. I would never want to walk into a gym again. I hate it.
Walk into a gym at all, not just why is it?
I just fucking hate it. I just hate it because like when you spend like your whole young part of your life and like your early 20s, like just constantly like, oh, I have to worry about like working out tomorrow. I have to like play football tomorrow. Like I can't just like there's days when like I just want to chill and drink all day because I don't drink anymore. But like that's when you're 20s, you do. So like I was like, you're right. I was like, I just want to fucking hang out and play Call of Duty fucking 1. Like I don't want to fucking go practice with these assholes who don't give a shit. That's the other thing too, is like, dude, I broke the interception record like the first year I was in that fucking league because this is what the league was made up of. Dudes like me who were still good, but like that this is our level now. Then you had dudes who were straight trash and just wanted like an outlet to still play, like live out their glory days. And then you had guys who should be not with us. Like they should be at a higher level. Like we had some guys who got cut from pro teams, like NFL teams. Like they never, like they were on the practice squad or got cut, or they went to camp and got cut. But still, that's an NFL fucking squad they try out for. This is full
contact.
Oh yeah, it's regular football.
I'm sure everyone's wives and family members and close friends love that. Like these people,
dude, those games would get pretty filled out. I'm sure. Like it was, I didn't think they would be. Not all of them, but like a good portion of them did.
Americans love football.
Yeah, I know, it's wild. I love football. I do.
Yeah,
I wish I could.
I'm part of the issue, part of the problem. That's why it's contributing to the. I don't know.
Dude, I mean, I have
craziness.
Seats. I have CT now for sure. For all
why do you say for sure?
Oh no, they like even if you look into like any of like the studies of CT, like scientists straight up say like if you played any level of high school football, you have some form of CT.
Yeah, repeated force.
So they're like now just imagine that, but amplify it by fucking years, and like you have it. Like,
yeah, you weren't the kicker.
No, yeah, I was diving my head, and then when I stopped playing semi-pro, I started doing like 2-hand touch leagues and shit, which is like rough 2-hand touch essentially.
Rough 2-hand touch.
Pretty much. Like guys are still throwing shoulders and shit. You're not supposed to, but like guys were getting lit up and too. Like guys would get lit up. I lit up.
Yeah.
People, I got lit up. Like, it's wild.
yeah, it got tense, I guess, sometimes growing up during the 2-hand touch.
Yeah, now imagine like again, adults that are like mad that they're not playing at a higher level. They're like, I'm gonna take.
Yeah, they're all mad at their lives and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is bad. Wild. I don't want to.
Crazy. It was fucking crazy. But like, then I also played a little quarterback because I always had a good arm, but I could never like play a real quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like I can never. I'm only 6'2", so I'm short as far as quarterback should go. But like I would never be able to like handle like the pressure of like what a quarterback could do. But in 2-hand touch leagues, you can. Because you have like a 1-man rush. You're like, okay, I can handle this guy. He knows you have time to fuck around and like sing the ball. Yeah, you're more athletic than the guy rushing you. I suppose. But that was fun. But I only officially fought for 1 year too. I just trained for like multiple years, but I only fought for like 1 a year. I was like, all right, I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was training with guys who were pro and who were trying to go pro. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this dedication.
You did it, but you did it for a while. You stuck with it for
amateur
a while.
though. No, but training is like, I trained for years, but I it was like not the same. I never had to cut weight for camp again. I never had to worry about like I can miss 3 days. It doesn't fucking matter. It's on my own. I'm just doing it to keep up with it, you know, like as opposed to like training for a fight or something like that. Like it's like no. So I was like,
but it's still healthy physical activity, like, and you're really pushing yourself, and staying committed to it for as long as you want that intensity to be part of your life, and that's cool.
Want to hear a really funny story?
Go for it.
So my striking coach, his name is Chris Pollock, and he was really, really good dude, like really knowledgeable guy, like really knew his shit, really good striker. Now
striking, I was going to ask, striking is it just arms and legs, or kicking and punching? It's all anything. Just
pretty much. Well, contact. How we did it anyway, and at my gym. But I get home one day from, I think I was just going out with friends, and I get home and I was like drunk and I was like starving. I was like, oh, I was going to eat food and just watch whatever the fuck's on HBO. And there's this documentary on. Listen, documentary, not a movie. It's a documentary. It's about all regular people who like are like lead double lives as superheroes. Okay, and it's mostly just nerds living like a fantasy. Is pretty much mostly what it is, right? And but they're trying to do good. Like some of them like bring stuff to the homeless and all that shit, and like some of them like they patrol the streets and it's so funny because it's a joke, right? It's not a joke. Like they're taking it seriously, but I'm laughing. Like it's very funny to me.
Right. There's like, a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on. In fact, one of the funniest fucking lines in anything I've ever seen in my life ever is they're out in San Diego and it's just this fat fucking nerd in a fucking homemade costume. And they're just on a sidewalk. This is on a random sidewalk on a public street. And they're kind of like the guy's maybe foot is on this guy's lawn, and you know the camera's on him, and he's getting an interview, and he's like, and it just feels really good to just do what I do. And I swear to God, off camera, you just hear some guy yell out, "Get the fuck off my property!" And it's the funniest fucking thing.
What was he trying to do? This guy?
I don't remember.
Patrolling, just.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if this is superheroes, or I don't know if this is hero or superhero. It's like more like neighborhood helping committee.
That's kind of what it is. It's like a
committee work.
It's a neighborhood watch, but just dressed up, and they're thinking they're doing more than that. But dude, it's the funniest. And the guy just goes, "Okay, sorry," and just
yeah.
God damn it! If anybody can go find that, I don't remember the name of the movie. I think it might be called Superheroes. I don't remember, but go watch that and go watch that scene, and then DM me and tell me, everybody watching, how funny it is. I'm telling you, it's so fucking hilarious.
I believe you.
Okay, but that's also watch it for what I'm about to tell you. So I'm watching this and I'm laughing my ass off, right? Then they cut to New York City, and I'm like, "Ooh, can't wait to see this," because I'm living in Staten Island, right, at the time. So I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's cut to Brooklyn and Manhattan. What are they doing there? And I see a man in spandex and homemade body armor. And I'm like, who's this fucking clown? It was my striking instructor.
Wow.
And I was like, I have to leave this gym.
Wow. This is like more wild and unlikely than the like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where Larry David sees his therapist in a thong on the beach and he's a little bit disturbed by it enough so to want to cut ties, I guess. But this is like, you couldn't write something like what you just told me.
Dude, it's funny though, because out of all of the heroes they showed on that documentary, he's the only one who could legit fuck you up.
I was just thinking that. I was like, wait a minute, does this guy actually have superhero skills? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, he could legit fuck you up. But it was funny just watching him yell at black people on the project to stop selling drugs. It was so funny.
Yeah, this wasn't about using his martial arts ability to be a hero or inject justice into society. He's like he's just wearing a costume and yelling about drugs or something. Like, was that what this is?
Yeah, but if someone pressed him, he would fuck him up.
Right. He's self-defense. Sometimes it's the thing.
There was a dude in Seattle who was also like an amateur MMA guy. And I think this might be on the same documentary. And he was getting like bullied by some just random dude on the street. Like he's like, you fucking, like gay, like just do all that shit. And he's like, all right, fight me. And there's a rule in Washington State called the mutual combat law, where you could go to a cop and be like, we want to fight each other. And the cop goes like, you want to fight him? And you go, yeah. He goes, okay. And then like the cops is there pretty much to make sure you don't kill the guy. I swear to God, this is true.
The referee. Yeah,
pretty much. So there happens to be a cop on the street. And this guy is like the guy who's heckling him for him to like, dude, I'm going to fuck this guy up. Of course, he's a nerd in a costume. And then they go up to the cop and they're like, we fight? He's like, yeah. The cop's like, of course you can. This is my night. And then the guy's like, okay. And he just gets fucking tuned up. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, so that says a lot about our society, that story.
Yeah. No, it's wild. Go watch the documentary. It's honestly, I shit on it, but it's honestly so funny. Everybody has to go watch it.
I guess maybe like there's some psychological thing. It's like these guys are all smart enough to not be aggressive and use their fighting ability for bad. But part of them wants to push the envelope and maybe they want to be tempted by someone who like they're ready to be underestimated. Part of them hopes to be underestimated.
Oh, for sure. And dude, like I hate bullying, like real bullying. I mean,
I'm not a fan either.
No, because like I think we should bully people, but like how
bully
we should bully. Yeah, like bully bullies or like bully all the masked people, like those people, like bully those
people who deserve to be bullied.
Yeah, people deserve to be bullied. But like if you are
in a non-criminal way,
yeah, right, just insult them to their face, make them feel like shit.
Right.
But like if you're just like some kid who's just like a loner and he's getting bullied, like no, fuck that. Like don't bully for that shit. Like I'm really, because that was happening to me, right? So like I'm super anti-bully. So if I see. I'm also like that guy now in life where like if I see like something that I think is like an injustice to other people, I'll be like, yo, that's fucking wrong. Don't stop that. And I'm like, you could press me, but I'll fuck you up. It's kind of like the same mentality, honestly, in that way. Where could I give you a dumb example? That just happened to me recently. My wife and I and a friend of ours, we went out to this restaurant and it's right by our house and it's like a really tight parking lot. Like it's like, tight turns and shit. And so our friends drove us and there's this giant like plumbing van, like parked like and there's no fire lane, but I'm going to call it the fire lane because that's you just parked like with the tires and lights on the side. So this other truck, the pickup truck comes around, like almost kind of hits us. Not really. And we're like, oh, sorry. And they're like, no, we're sorry. Whatever. It wasn't their fault because they couldn't see because of the fucking plumbing truck. So my friend and I get out and we're like, fucking this asshole, right? I'm like, I know, what the fuck? Like we could have got into a car accident. Like other cars get into car accidents. Like this is fucking crazy. And my buddy's like, oh, give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's here to fix something because it's a plumbing truck. I'm like, hey man, no, he's not. I just feel he's not. Like, it's like too late. It's like, it's just, I feel like something. No. And as we're debating like what we think is going on, the guy gets out of his truck and we're like, we're going to find out right now, motherfucker. What's going on? He walks past us into the restaurant through the front of the line and he's like, hey, is my food ready? And I was like, this motherfucker is going to cause an accident because he's waiting for food and just can't park his fucking truck. So I'm like, well, I'm saying something. I don't give a shit. I'm 100% saying something. So the guy turns around and as he's leaving, he's like, I'm like, hey man, awesome place to park your truck. He's like, thanks. And I went, I was being facetious. It's actually a fucking terrible place to park your truck. And he's like, oh, it's insured. And that pissed me off because he's being a fucking smarmy cunt now. And I was like, motherfucker, it's not what I meant. And as I started saying that, my voice got loud and my wife hates when I do this. So she's like, Adam, stop. And I turned. Now she's distracted me and I'm like, what? This guy's being a fucking asshole. And as I'm saying that, he just sneaks out the door and like runs back into his truck. And I was like, fuck, this motherfucker got away with it. But like, so shit like that, I'll always try to like just saying like, and my whole reason behind that, I'm like, that guy's acting like an asshole because his whole life, no one checks him. No one ever calls him out for being an asshole. I'm like, I'll call him out for being an asshole. I'll check him. Because like I'm not afraid of anybody.
But do you think it's going to change him? You think this is going to be effective and do anything?
I think you could tell he's never been like engaged like that before, like for being an asshole. You could just tell like people like that. Like,
you planted a seed.
Yeah, maybe I just planted a seed. Maybe I didn't. maybe I didn't, but if I see him again, I remember his fucking little face. So I'll see him again if I see him again. But like,
what if you were nicer though? What if you were like, like I know you probably weren't thinking about it, but you were kind of blocking traffic here, just for future reference. That's too nice. I'm too nice. That's my problem.
Too nice. But I'll tell you why. Because when I was like, hey, awesome place to park your truck, the way he answered me, he didn't give a shit. You can just tell.
But did you not prompt that with your like initial remark?
No, all right,
in the tone?
maybe, but like, if I was being an asshole and someone's like, hey man, be an asshole, I'd be like, you're right, man, I'm sorry.
But
it's usually
but if you're coming at him right, like kind of aggressive, he's just gonna get into that self-defense mode, and then you're gonna have no chance to have an impact.
Yeah, maybe, but it's like, again, I'm looking at it, it's like, what you're doing is wrong.
It's like he needed to be checked either way.
It's like, what you're doing, like, why we're having this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I definitely could have been. I'm not even disagreeing with you, but like, it's like, we're having this conversation. We're not having this conversation because I'm some random asshole who has a problem with you. Yeah. It's like, why we're having this you know what I'm saying? Even if you don't want to admit it to me, that's fine. But you fucking know. So just like shit like that, I just will call out because I fucking hate it.
You got to do you, man, and you got to be the most authentic you that you can be. What about like besides sports growing up? Did you say you had siblings? And I want to know like what else you were like into. Were you into like what were you watching on TV, music, listening to like growing up?
Big Star Wars nerd.
Oh yeah, the comic book and the comic
books.
Was a big.
I mean, people can't really see.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool. I want to always point that out.
Or people popular, at least.
But on my right arm, I have a whole sleeve from my wrist up. It's all 90s cartoons.
When did the tattoos start?
I made 18-year-old mistakes. So I had to get these all covered up. So these are all actually relatively new.
Was it painful besides like the whatever it was were they of, but was it like painful physically to get I have 0 tattoos.
So when I had more muscle on me, I also had a few fat years because when I stopped playing football and I stopped doing MMA, I got fucking fat. I blew up to like 265, like real fat. And then now I'm down to 165. So I like lost 100 pounds, which is crazy.
But you said you're still exercising or what? How do you keep healthy? Like you look healthy.
I'm not healthy. You're
not healthy.
I just eat like once a day. I just eat
you don't overconsume.
Yeah. I just eat like once.
But you don't overexert.
I walk the dog a lot. No, I don't really work out though.
But you're walking or you're active enough, kind of, sort of.
I mean, I walk the dog. Yeah. But it's like, it is what it is. But, yeah. So like, those tattoos are relatively new. Yeah. So, right. So when I was fat and when I had muscle on me, it didn't hurt as much. Now it hurts like a motherfucker.
What's that hurts?
Like tattoos now. Like when I was fat and when I had muscle, it didn't really hurt. Now it really fucking hurts and I hate getting tattooed.
But you keep doing it because you want the tattoos. Or
it's a balance, right? It's like I go, is the outcome worth the pain now? Yes, in my opinion. So
yeah, that's deep.
Yeah,
deeper than you intended.
But like it's I'm not done. Like I'm going back soon to get like my other thigh on, and then I still have to fill in some fillers. Like as you can see, I have room and shit. Like some room here. I just gotta fill like color and stuff. Yeah,
there's too much. Don't try. I better not see any skin next time I see you. Fucking get it right in the face like Tyson.
Ugh.
And this is all 90s nostalgia type things, or
on my right arm.
You can share whatever you want. I mean,
that's Boba Fett. So no to him.
Yeah,
that's
Star Wars
childhood stuff. And then I have 2 Joker tattoos. I have one on my wrist. Then I have one on my inner arm right here that you just can't see because my shirt is too. You kind of see it a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of see it. I also have a phoenix, which that just kind of symbolizes like kind of like a rebirth thing.
Yeah. You seem to go through those like in these different phases of your life.
So that's exactly what. So it always reminds me of like there's always another rebirth phase. And then on this arm, my lower arm is all steampunk stuff. If anyone knows what steampunk is, it's awesome. Like shit, just go look at it. It's like it's cool visual architecture and all, and clothing and shit.
A style, a brand.
Yeah. And then think of like if instead of technology getting downgraded to computers, everything is just went like to more steam technology. Think of it that way. So you have like more airships, like big wheel powered shit, like, you know, it's kind of like the aesthetic. It's I just always loved what that aesthetic is. Steampunk, I always did. So I have like a steampunk house and like an airship and stuff on my arm.
Industriousness.
Kind of, yeah.
Innovation, industriousness, but also with a mix of something traditional about it, perhaps, or something
fantasy,
simple. Yeah.
And then my upper arm is all Alice in Wonderland stuff. The Cheshire Cat and the Mad Hatter and the rabbits, both of them, and the fucking worm and all the caterpillar.
Yeah. What did your family and your parents think about your journey as a football player and MMA? And we didn't even get into really your adulthood yet. So I kind of like, tell me a little about your family.
We did a little bit. I mean, my mom and I never really got along. We're better now as I'm older, but that's just because of my position in life is a lot better. So I just let a lot of shit go, you know, and I just kind of accept it for what it is. It's like she's 60 fucking 6, 7, whatever the fuck old. It's like she's not going to change, you know, like I never got like hit or anything like that, or you know, but like just we never got along.
Yeah. It's normal. Families are
we just never really got along because she worked from home to, you know, so I didn't have to go to daycare or anything like that. So there's constant like butting of heads. But me and my dad are boys. We're still boys. We're still tight. Me and my dad, we're very close. I could count on the time on one hand that me and him almost really got into it. That's, you know, for our whole life, it's pretty good, I think. So, but you know, they I guess did the best they could raising me. They definitely fucked up in a lot of ways, you know, I'm sure. And then I think for all of our relationships, like kind of the dynamic turned in 2008 when the recession hit, because my dad lost his really good job, like a lot of other people did, and they just never really recovered from it. And then my mom stole money from me. That's another big reason why I'm at odds. But
oh man,
yeah, that wasn't cool. But again, it's like I got paid some of that back, but not even like really like a third of it, I would say. But that was years ago. It is what it is now. I mean, I'm a much better position than they are in life, and that's what I'm saying. It's like it is what it is. It's just, you know, let it go. I'm like, you know, it sucks because like of what she did, but what am I gonna do about it?
At least she's I don't know. I mean, I don't know the details, but it sounds like she's at least trying to show some good faith, even if she's not able to.
My dad did.
Yeah,
he's the one who paid me, who gave me the money a little bit back, but like no, because like even her and my wife, she said some, because she's a very Italian woman from Brooklyn, my mom, and
I figure there's a lot of strong personalities in this circle of people that you're describing.
Yeah, no, my dad's actually laid back, honestly. Like he's a pretty level-headed dude. Apparently, when he was younger and like around my age, he was a lot more hot-headed. But I never really knew him as a hot-headed dude. I always knew him as like a very calm dude. But my mom's a very Italian, opinionated woman from Brooklyn. So, you know, she said some fucked up shit. My wife and I were dating, even when we were like engaged and married. Like, it's like, yeah, you fucking burned that bridge too, mom. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like how many bridges you want to burn? It's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry that these are things that you have to deal with, but
I'm not the only one, I'm sure.
Yeah, makes you who you are. Your journey, your story. You know,
it is what it is. It's just I'm honest. And I've definitely said some things to my mom that I'm not super proud of either, but deserved. I'll say that. They were deserved things said, but just I shouldn't have said them. But yeah, so we talk. I wouldn't say on regularly, but yeah, we talk like maybe once a week via text or at least phone call, maybe to each other. I talk to my dad a lot more often.
Yeah, what do you and your dad talk about?
Everything, literally everything. Fucking politics, the fucking Spider-Man, dude. Like I mean, like.
That's great that you have this type of relationship with.
We watch Rick and Morty together on like Discord and shit.
Nice.
Got him into all that stuff.
He probably got you into all the sports stuff early on in your life, or what?
Yeah, he got me into, believe it or not, he got me into comic books too. My dad was a comic book guy. He, like I would say around 91, I would say I started really getting into like Spider-Man comic books and stuff. And I used to go to all the comic book stores with him, like once a week we go to comic book store. We went to Comic-Con every year since I was like 10, the New York Comic-Con.
Damn, that's awesome.
Up until the last few years because, you know, life, the world. But we went to a lot of almost all of that, you know, most of my life together. But my dad was never a super athletic guy. Like he was a big workout guy when he was younger. Like he would put up like apparently like 350 no problem on the bench, and I could never do that. I never came close to like 2 something. Like, you know, like so he was like a big, like ripped when he was younger. So that was like his thing, like as a workout guy. But like he never really played football. Like he played like football, but not like really played, like, you know, he didn't play for high school. So that was all. I'm actually the most athletically achieved person in, I think, my whole family. Like even like extended family to like cousins and shit. Like I would argue I am for sure. So I don't know where I got it from. Well,
your dad, you took whatever your dad, had and took it to the next level, I guess, by adding your mom's genes.
I think my mom
people's who came before them.
I think my mom played basketball for a little bit.
There you go.
So that might have been it.
You had the strength and the athleticism.
Yeah.
Perfect for the safety position. You had the right build for that position as well. That's cool that you got to connect with your dad over these different things and the comics and stuff. That's probably how I was more with my dad with like sports and stuff, just like going to games and
I mean, we my dad's a sports fan. Like we definitely went to plenty of games together. We went to a lot of Giants games, a lot of Yankees games. Like
there you go.
We definitely did that. But it's not like he's not the one. I mean, and he also, I would say this, my dad was awesome. Like he would practice football with me all the fucking time. Like I'd run routes. Like he'd throw me the ball. Like I'd play like fake defense on like no one receiver, and I have him like throw real routes to like no one, just for me to see if I could cover it. Like he would always constantly make me better. So yeah, no, shout out my dad for sure.
That's awesome. What about I guess where were we after you college? You were doing the football thing, the MMA thing, and you were going to college. I think that's as far as we got, maybe.
Yeah, I went to 4 years of college and didn't graduate. Fucking retarded.
That's probably more common than you think, and something's it's pretty funny because it's the exact number you need to finish, but you're like, no, I went to 4 and didn't finish. Like that's it's like a magic trick almost.
Because you know how many classes I just didn't go to? Like so many.
That will do it.
So many. Because you get that free. Because like I'm not a school person. Like I think school's bullshit. I'm fucking libertarian. You know,
it's not for everybody. No, even in retrospect, for some that went, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also was majoring in history. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? I just liked history. So I was like, this would be fun for 4 years to at least, talk about history and shit.
Yeah, it was just something you were kind of just going through the system in a sense, like doing what society and maybe even your parents think is best for you, and even maybe to some degree, part of you thought that's what you needed to do as well, even if academics weren't your priority.
Dude, I was working at Modell's, playing football, doing MMA, fucking barely going to college, and fucking playing poker on the weekends, drinking. It was a good time. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. I wish I could go back. It was fucking a good time.
Yeah, I could see why you might want to. What about, so what happened next? Like you do comedy now, you're a content creator. What happened? What, take me from partying or whatever you want to describe that part of your life as to.
So wild journey coming up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Very weird. So, 18 years old. Like I always loved comedy, right? I grew up on Opie and Anthony and Jim Norton and again, the great Patrice O'Neill and fucking Bobby Kelly, Rich Voss, Bill Burr, all those guys. So again, I was always kind of funny or witty. And I was like, oh, I always think I want to do this. So at 18 years old, I was like, oh, what's the best city in the world to start comedy? In LA or New York? And I live in New York City. So yay. So I ferry right over. And my very first open mic was at the Comic Strip up in the Upper East Side. Shitty club, awful club now, terrible. But like at the time, it was like whatever, still kind of actually still failing, but better. And I fell in love with comedy. Like, you know, like my first time, I was like, oh, I fucking love this. And then I bombed for the next fucking 3 years.
As everyone does.
Yeah, as everyone does, which is good.
From what I gather.
But I didn't get into politics or really focus on politics until I was like 21, 22. This is important for what I'm about to say. So I'm from Staten Island, which is the only right-leaning conservative borough in New York City, right? Like majority leaning, right-leaning.
Yeah, the Huntington Beach of New York City, from what I gather. I don't know if you know that reference.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. Yes, the Huntington Beach, New York City. So that's Staten Island. So I always grew up with my cousins are cops, my cousins are fucking teachers, my cousins are sanitation workers, and everyone's like, get a city job. You'll be retired by 41. You'll have benefits forever. It was always, that was the message. Literally nothing else. It was never like, oh, plus the work. It's just always like city job. You're protected. Get out. 41 years old. Whatever. Drilled into my fucking head. So I started comedy at 18, 19, 20. I'm doing it for 3 years. I'm obviously making $0 from it. And I, panicked, and I was like, oh, I think I got to do something. And I was like, oh, well, I hate bullies. I should join the police department. Thinking
no.
Yeah. Thinking like, oh, they help people.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, was I wrong.
Who gets to define what a bully is?
Right.
That's the major issue, I suppose. But go on.
So again, I didn't know what I know now, obviously, and I wasn't into politics back then. So I get into the academy at 21 years old, and I'm like, oh, I want to help. I want to help people, and they're like, wrong job, dude. You're not here for that.
No. What I mean, it is part of me does think it is admirable that you had good intentions with this. And so, is that literally what you were told?
No, of course not. But I mean, so many right through actions and words. What they, what you're there for. So you're in the academy for 6 months. You graduate. I went out to Staten Island, which is awesome because that's where I lived. And it was just all they cared about was enforcement, summonses, arrests, revenue. Yeah, it was all right. And I was like, how about this person needs help? I don't think we should bust his balls. Like, nope. It's like, okay. So now I'm stuck in that job. I stopped doing comedy because there's no time for it. I'm just fucking miserable now. Working in the 1-2 precinct in Staten Island, which is majority white of a precinct, like the constituents of the precinct.
You're giving out tickets as your main job, kind of thing. I mean,
I was a regular patrol. Yeah,
patrol.
So the precinct was weird because like we had some of the richest property in all of the country in our precinct, but also like heroin, white trash down by the beach. It was fucking wild.
That's America. So, it's like everything is pretty. You turn around a corner, it's a very different world, and those worlds still can be very separate in a lot of ways too.
Wild, and they hated us too. Like everybody hated. You know what I'm saying? So once you start to see what's going on around you, and then I, found the great Ron Paul. Not so much in 08, but more of I didn't know who he was in 08, 09, but I really caught the wave in 2012. Like I really was on.
Yeah, same.
But I knew of him in 08. I did hear what he had to say in 08. I was like, oh, this guy's making some fucking sense. But I still was so young and I didn't really fully dive into it because you're a dumb kid. But then by 2012, I was all on board. Like, this is a fucking about this, tear it down. Oh
yeah, I know.
But it's funny too, because like no one hates government more than if you were in government. Like then like how awful it is. Like how many soldiers leave the military? They're like, yo, fuck this. It's the same thing with cops. Like so many cops would leave. They're like, yo, fuck this. It's like, but now like I'm in this job and like I'm stuck in it. And I'm like, oh, I have no fallback here. I didn't even graduate college. So what I started doing was I was like, oh, I'm just going to, you find a few other guys who think like you we work midnights, which is awesome because not too many people out. And then we just kind of try to police libertarian style. So like I never had a drug arrest ever had a drug arrest. We just kind of focus on like theft and violent crime.
That's great.
Fair, right? Like, we try to stop domestic violence as much as we can, all that shit. Never cared about drugs, never cared about, drunk driving is one thing, I'm sure. But like, I think I only had one drunk driving arrest ever.
Yeah, you weren't chasing the stuff down to bring revenue to the state.
Nah, but like they did make us write summonses though.
Yeah.
He's like, because here's the thing, man. Like, they can't fire you, right? Because quotas don't exist, so they say. But they'll fuck with your life, and it's not worth it.
In what way do they fuck with your life?
I'll tell you. So Hurricane Sandy, when that hit Staten Island pretty bad because we're a fucking island, Cool thing though, me and my partner and I, we saved a whole family of 5 from a fucking overturned car that was like fell into like a fucking essentially it was a street river because it was so flooded. It was
You're
wild.
A hero, not those people in the costumes.
Yeah, no, I legitimately.
You're wearing a costume, but that's not what made you a hero.
Dude, it was wild. Same night, almost got electrocuted to death. It was a crazy night. But what happened after Sandy is obviously so many people had to evacuate their homes. And that led to a lot of just break-ins.
Right.
Obviously, that looks bad for numbers. And they don't like that. So we had a lieutenant who was awesome, good guy, like an old school guy who only cared about, again, crime, not bullshit. And he was like, he was like, hey, we're having a lot of break-ins. And the CO was like, nah, it's water damage. They're gone from the flood. Like, it was like, and we're like, well, there's fucking footprints on the door from a guy kicking the door in. Like, the water did that, And so the lieutenant was like, I'm not lying anymore. And he just gathered all the numbers and kind of went above the CO's head to some chief or something. I don't even fucking know. And, they didn't like that either. And then they went, cool. You've been a lieutenant for like 30 years. Long time, good standing member of the department. You live in Staten Island. Again, people don't understand New York. If you live on Staten Island, that's its own place, man. It's impossible to get anywhere else. It's even impossible to get places on Staten Island.
I've been to Staten Island one time in my 40 years on this planet, probably, or so.
Yeah. Like, you can't get off it. Like, if you have to go to Manhattan, you're like, fuck. Like, it sucks to drive. So they went
to take a bus. You have to take a bus to a train, walk 2 miles to get to wherever.
Sucks. It sucks. Like, or the ferry. It's like, or drive. Right.
It's like, all 4 of those.
It sucks. So they were like, okay, cool. So what's going to happen now is you're going to get transferred to the Bronx and you're going to do day tours. So he had to get up at 4 a.m. every day just to get in for 7:15 in the morning or whatever the fuck.
And this never made it into the public at all, this story. And there's a million ones out there. It's such an incentive structure for everybody to make the wrong choices. Set up.
So, by the way, that was all allegedly happened.
Yeah.
It was all alleged. I can't prove or deny any of this. It all allegedly happened.
Yeah, and I think the moral of the story is we found the one good apple out of, or plus you and your couple of buddies. So we found like 4 good apples out of like 9,000 or some shit. So
there's 40,000 NYPD or something like that.
Yeah,
35,000.
Yeah, we found 13 good apples. We good.
But it just,
oh man.
Anyway, I got hurt out of that job. So hey, that's what happened. I got into too many car accidents and too much noggin hurting, and they were like, "You can't do this job anymore." I was like, "Thank you." I can't. I'm fucked up for sure.
I don't know whether to commend, congratulate, or whatever. How to quite respond to that.
So I get like I call them concussion headaches.
I'm sorry. That's not fun. I imagine.
Yeah, I just will randomly just get blindingly devastating headaches out of nowhere. And I can't like watch TV or look at phones or light or shit sometimes. And then also my memory is shit. My short-term memory is shit. No, I lost my memory. My short-term memory is shit. Also, I have 2. This, by the way, might technically not be from the car accidents, but it definitely kind of helped. I have 2 bulging discs in my neck that I have to go get treatment for starting like next week or 2 weeks from now. Finally, after fucking years. But Yeah, I'm all fucked up from that. So yeah, like it sucks for sure. But
yeah, I'm sorry that you're dealing with all this. Well, you look well. I think you got me fooled. You look lean and mean and I don't know.
Well, that's the great thing about brain trauma is no one could tell unless you're like blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
like a fucking animal.
If someone hangs out with you for any extended period of time, then it comes out eventually.
If they heard me do stand up, they'll be like, okay, we get it. If they heard me comedy.
Yeah. I was almost gonna make Antonio Brown joke, referencing where you might be headed, or asking if that's where you might be headed. That's
a successful me.
Yeah, you'll be success. Well, yeah, he became successful. Yeah. But I hope everyone does find peace in their minds and in their souls and in their lives for sure. Wow. So then you left the department and then what?
Got back into comedy.
Really focusing on the comedy.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that now. I mean, full time since I was like 28.
That's fucking
27,
awesome.
27, 29.
8 years, 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about the journey when you dove back in.
Oh, it's like it felt a piece of me I felt missing for years. I didn't realize it was that until I started doing it again. But I had to start from ground up again, like completely ground up again. Also, when I was 18, 19 years old doing comedy, I had zero life experience and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now I have things that happened. And it's like, oh, I have shit to talk about now. Like, you go through life, relationships, fucking whatever, family stuff. And you're like, all right. And then you have better material. But you still suck when you first start. But yeah, now it's like fucking 180 is wild.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of things were you talking about when you started to, I guess, I'm sure you were finding your voice once you sort of made this like recommitment.
Dude, I kind of honestly just started finding my voice in the last year. Like, honestly, how long it fucking takes. Like, honestly, and I still wouldn't say if it's not found. It's just more fine tuned.
Yeah, that's such an artist answer, but I think I totally get that. And I think any creative really does understand what that means.
Like Bill Burr, Louis C.K., Dave Chappelle, they found their voice. Like Jim Gaffigan, those guys found their voice. Yeah,
they found it I don't want to say early, but like they found their voice a while ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But that's why they're the GOATs and I'm not. All right. Yeah. Like it's that simple. And like, I just got to keep working on it to get better.
Right. What a journey it's been. It sounds like. What were some of the highlights maybe as you started to ascend in your career?
I think just honestly, and this is gonna sound dumb, but like doing dumb, shitty bar shows with your friends, because that makes you better. You know what I'm saying? Like you do some bar show for like 5 people that don't give a shit, barely paying attention. You're just bombing, but then you and your friends are joking around afterwards, being like, "That was fucking hell." It's like going through like a war together almost,
Right.
But then
that makes total sense.
But then you guys progressively also get better together, and then you start getting booked for better and better shows, and then you start to do your own thing, and then you start to branch out, and that's why it's a journey. That's why it's like a 9-year fucking journey until you start doing cool shit. I mean, dude, now I'm doing fucking shows for like the Mises Caucus and shit like that, dude. Like fucking 400 people. It's
awesome.
Like it's a crazy journey.
Why is life so yin yangy? You got to sacrifice in the short term for the long term, and suffer for success. And maybe suffer is too strong of a word, but there's got to be some. I guess sacrifice maybe is the better word, or suffering if you're not, or like in some way. There's I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
Let's let you respond to that.
I'm waiting for the fucking the come down. I'm always like, what's gonna happen to me? What's gonna like? I'm waiting for something to sucker punch, like life to sucker punch me and be like, oh, you thought life is going good? Nah, son, and just get hit with something. I don't know what it is. But
right, that's true because we can't control everything, and
yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's coming on the other side. I'm always waiting for the counter. I'm always like, always waiting for the fucking counter punch.
Yeah. What about the recently anything you've been working on or that You could tell me about your different creative projects and whatnot. I'll just kind of keep going with the chronology.
I mean, so obviously when I started getting back into it, I'm still bombing, I'm still sucking, but then you start getting a lot better. And now I'm at the point where, I got 2 podcasts that are doing well for me. One being The Porcupine, which is my political libertarian one I do. And that's just by myself, and I have on guests. And that's cool because I obviously really care about liberty and the movement and all that shit in the Mises Caucus. And so I like talking about it. And I think it's important to get that message out there. And then my other podcast, my comedy podcast, Cult of Us, I do with Neil Wood, who I also own Drop Tent with, which is like essentially like a little media podcast / stand-up comedy company that him and I created. And him and I do that podcast together, and I fucking love it. It's fun as fuck. It's called Cult of Us, and it's just us being goofy, and it just takes away from all the serious shit we're dealing with all the time. People need that. Yeah, it's me and my friend being dumb with each other, and then our producer, who's also he's a younger comic, Jesse Pedraza. He's like the unofficial third mic, so he's kind of off in the background. We'll just chime in every now and then, and it's fun. We shit on each other. We bring in guests every now and then. We make fun of things we see on TV, on the internet, whatever the fuck. It's just a good time. There's
enough things on television that are worth making fun of, that deserve to be made fun of.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of YouTube videos.
I'm joking around. Yeah.
But and then also we produce stand-up shows too, him and I together. We have like one or two monthly rooms we run in Jersey and Pennsylvania, and then thanks also to the libertarian audience I built with the Porcupine and Twitter and stuff like that. This year I'll be going on the road a lot to do some stand-up shows, like mainly around the South-ish and a little bit out west. And Neil will be coming with me, and my buddy Blaze Kagakis, who's a younger comic too. And we're gonna fucking do all these stand-up shows together via Drop 10 and stuff like that. So I love Neil. He's a good dude, and he's my comedy influence in a way, because we work together. And he also makes me want to get better too, because he's really funny too.
Very cool. Congrats on all this success, and I'm excited now just hearing even more about these ventures, and I'm going to follow your buddy Neil
Wood. Yeah, I am Neil Wood on, I think.
Yeah, I'll check him out as well.
But he fucking sucks on Twitter, so follow him. I don't know. He sucks on social media. That's annoying. He's fucking funny.
I take it back. Fuck
he
that
sucks
guy.
on social media. He sucks on social media.
If I need to talk to him, I'll reach out to you.
Honestly, yeah. It's also funny. We also, him and I have like not even an inside joke. It's a joke we talk about on the podcast, but like, a lot of people's first impressions with Neil are like, that guy's an asshole. And like, yeah, I totally get it. Because like he just come off that way. He tries to work on it, but
maybe it's resting asshole face.
Kind of. So I always tell people, I feel like I'm the battered wife in the relationship. I have to go around and be like, he's really not a jerk. He's actually a really nice guy. He doesn't.
I'm trying to think who's my version of that friend that I have now, because I think there's one in every circle. Not everyone is an extreme Cartman, but like there's always perhaps like a friend like that in the group, even in like a group of female friends, or maybe even especially in a group of female friends.
Oh yeah, no. Chicks can't be friends. They have zero friends. Yeah. They have zero loyalty for sure. My wife can't be friends with another woman.
That's a broad generalization. We're both sexist for thinking it's at least partially true, even though it probably is.
It's definitely true.
Yeah. What was it about Ron Paul in 2012? Was it a particular issue or issues that made you like?
I think it was literally everything he said. Because I was never a Republican. I was never a Democrat. I was always like an in-between floater guy. I didn't know really like libertarianism existed. Really,
I felt kind of similar myself as well.
So, but again, when I heard him speak, I'm like, oh, I feel that way about that issue. Oh, I feel that way about that issue. Oh yeah, I feel that. So I was like, what is this? And then that's when I looked into it more. That's pretty much what it was. It was like literally everything he was saying, like the wars, the fucking Fed, the fucking everything, literally everything.
Yeah, he was getting criticism from both sides of the aisle, and also support to some degree from people on different parts of the political spectrum. And there's definitely something about that makes a political candidate stand out. Plus, the media was shutting him out and ignoring him and stuff like that. So once that happened, I was like, oh, maybe I should listen to this person more, because it always is the opposite of what they intend to do with the goals. But that's a whole nother long conversation, I suppose. But I really appreciate the time and the stories. You're a great storyteller. long-term memories is good to go. I appreciate it. Have you met John Lynch ever by any chance or seen him play live?
Yes. Yeah, I did see him play live. He actually, when he was on the Broncos, they came in to play the Giants and they won the game too. But it was cool seeing him play live. It was cool seeing him play live.
Yeah. Yeah. He's fucking one of the greats of all time for sure. Why don't you tell people where they could find you, follow you, or anything else you want to mention? I'll kind of give you the floor to do your thing.
Just follow me at Adam Nutter on everything. I think, pretty much on everything. And then please go to youtube.com/Adam Nutter. That's for, I put some stand-up clips up there, and that's where you get to catch the porcupine. And then youtube.com/Cult of Us for my comedy podcast. And again, those are also audio available everywhere. If you guys want to help support Neil and I for Cult of Us, patreon.com/Cult of Us. And droptent.com for merch. We have plenty of shirts and fucking hoodies and everything on there. And also droptent.com/events for tickets for all my upcoming shows. Everything will be up there. We posted on there. So just go droptent.com for all the shit, all the other podcasts and shit and all that stuff.
Very cool. I appreciate it again. I'm sure we'll talk more soon, and I'll have to check you out live. As I did hear you say something about the West. You're coming out West.
I am going to come out to California, I think, but I don't know where yet.
Yeah.
Well, I think I will
don't
be
come to LA.
Well, I mean, I can't anyway. I'm not vaxxed, so
yeah. Oh, we could find a different venue for you. Anyway, we'll talk about that stuff off the podcast, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks again, and let's talk soon.
Yeah, brother.
You got it. Peace. So there you have it. Episode number 123 and my conversation with Adam Nutter. That was fun. I really appreciate him taking the time, and I'm sure he gave wide receivers back in the day a lot of nightmares. And I'm glad he's in a good place with all of his family. But anyway, for everything about this show, of course, head to peoplewelovepodcast.com, at People We Love Podcast on Instagram. I am at Adam Choit on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow me. And I also have that other podcast, the music podcast, all about the band Tedeschi Trucks Podcast, Tedeschi Trucks Band. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram if you want to check that show out as well. But I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks as always, and let's talk soon. Peace.